I'm Robyn Horton. I was born Robyn D'Antonio.
I'm second generation American. My family is from Italy, from the regions of Abruzzo and Napoli.
I'm the fourth of 5 children, and I grew up in Southern California. In November of 1980, I had met someone at a liquor store on my way to a disco. They invited me to come to church, and I came. I started to study the Bible, and in January 1981, I became a disciple of Jesus. That was 42 years ago. I brought Jesus into my family. My mother and brother and sister were baptized. At the time, I was a college student at San Diego State University. It really changed my life in many ways. It changed the view that I had of people. I saw them from a spiritual perspective. The soul actually needed to be healed, and not just the heart. I was always reaching out on the campus, trying to help people know God. And I remember some of the ways that I stayed connected to God over the years. As I'm trying to share my faith with people, I knew that I had to pray a lot more. So I developed a prayer list, and this prayer list has kept me focused over the years, and being consistent on what I'm praying about, it allowed me to see that I could check off things that God had answered. I also love reading the Psalms, and I love my Audible Bible. These things have really helped me in recent years. I go on prayer walks and I enjoy nature with God and just a time to relax and focus on Him. Scott and I have really learned to pray together. Since COVID, our prayer life has really done well. We're so much more vulnerable and basically open with each other because we pray together every day. There's so many ways that God's been an anchor for me in my challenging times. Scott and I will be married 29 years in May. And during our marriage, he's had 3 major surgeries, and Alec and I both had life-threatening surgeries as well. Alec had a burst appendix, I had a destroyed colon, and Scott's had 2 back surgeries and a hip replacement. So many years, Scott was on the Westside prayer list for his pain, his back problems, probably about 15 years. I was exhausted, just the prayers and the desperateness that I felt all the time. His chronic pain was debilitating, and doctors would tell us there was nothing they could do. They'd send us home with medications, and we were just so discouraged. But I continued to pray. We all prayed for Scott, and the church prayed for him diligently. I remember during one of Scott's surgeries, lying on the floor in the meditation room at Kaiser Hospital and just begging God and petitioning Him to finally heal my husband and make him well. I was so weary after all the years of pain and uncertainty. But during the years, I never lost my involvement and my commitment to helping women. I loved the single women and always wanted to help and encourage them and keep them faithful. So I used my own pain and my struggles to help them see the power of God. I didn't want my life to be about pain and difficulties. I wanted to stay involved and have my life impacting others. When I reflect back on the miracles of God, it encourages me today because I see what He's already done, and it helps me to believe when I'm having difficulties or even praying for other people's difficulties, what's possible. So the miracles of God never stopped for me and Scott. We're still having struggles and challenges in our life, but today I feel like we handle them with greater confidence and faith. After the last surgery in 2018, Scott lost his job right before COVID. He'd been employed consistently for over 25 years. We've been trying to reinvent our lives in our 50s and 60s. I'm now an online coach helping women discover their strengths and passions and help them find their calling. Scott started a digital media company and is still producing his art in various forms and marketing it. There are some things I do know for sure after being in the faith for 42 years. Find an anchor of friends to hold on to in your difficult times. Spiritual people that can minister to you. Also, people will disappoint you, but God's perfect. He's the only one that is. Just try to be at peace with others. The world and the climate that we live in is very chaotic and unpredictable, but Jesus is still the answer. And lastly, the church is an important part of our faith. It's where we show the world the unity and the love of Christ.